Hello. Hello. Barbiethon chat. How is everyone doing? Hi. Welcome to Barbiethon 2026. We're here. We did it. Hello. My name is Sharif. I will be your host for the first half of today. Um we are here to celebrate all things Barbie. And also we are raising money for the National Immigration Law Center. There's like a little donate button under the Twitch screen. There's like a donate to charity button. You click that, you can donate. You can also type exclamation charity in the chat. And yeah, that's basically it. I will be here keeping y'all company while we do various speed runs while dancing princesses music. But yeah, so it's about time to get started. What do y'all think? Excellent. Cool. All right, so we're gonna start with our first run, which is ALhEXadecimal, Alex. They're running Barbie Horse Adventure Riding Camp, all ribbons. So yeah, take it away.
Are we good audio? Are we good audio wise?
That was my bad. We're good now. That was my bad. We're good now.
We're good? Alright, I'm seeing Alex's voice. Quiet Alex's voice? Should I readjust stuff or Barbie horse? We're good? I see we're good. I'm gonna assume we're good. This is Barbie Horse Adventures for the computer. And I'm just gonna hop into it right away. I guess I'll count it down. Timing starts from hitting enter for a new game. Here, 3, 2, 1, go. So right away we kind of skip a cutscene that explains like, hey, you're spending your summer vacation on the island of Equestria. That's actually the name of the island that this game takes place on. And we're basically spending the summer here learning how to horse after like a storm has come through here and like mess things up kind of thing. So right now we're kind of just doing like basic tutorial stuff of like learning about a customization area that we're never gonna visit again because we don't really need to. We already have good enough drip as is. And then we're gonna make our way over to select our first horse, which is, I think, a lot faster than moving around as tank controls Barbie. We can move around as tank controls horse instead. You're pretty much spending most of the game on a horse. There's not really too much benefit to slowly walking around as tank controls Barbie. Then we're gonna talk to Kyle over here.
Hey, Barbie. Yeah, that one. Go find it.
And then we're gonna start the first race, which is kind of just divided up into checkpoints.
Okay, every challenge has a set time that I need to beat.
And then after that, we're gonna get a bit of a tutorial on taking care of the various needs of the horse. There's food, there's water, there's like brushing, and then there's like something with the horseshoes. I forget the exact name of like what they refer to the need of that as. We're not really going to be doing too much of the other two. We're just going to be feeding and watering. This is very legitimate real-life equestrian advice. Just please stay tuned to the Barbiethon channel for more definitely real equestrian tool tips.
That looks good. You're ready to go.
Brushing the horse and like taking care of its shoes are something that you're required to get off of the horse to be able to do.
Hi, Barbie.
So
Horses get hung.
it's never really worth it to
There are actually
do
two
those.
hayfields for a while.
And the reason that they're even important in the first place is that
Hi, Barbie. Excellent.
they
job.
work on a timer where after a long enough amount of time, your horse will start to need like food and water and all that kind of thing. It won't have a detrimental impact though until you have more than 2 of those needs show up at a time.
Cleaning the horse.
Scraping
So we're able to
horses
just
are
give
located
food and
in
water
all the
periodically
different
throughout the run
I'll need to take my horse to one of them to scrape the animal's
to
hoof.
prevent our horse from deciding that they no longer like to operate at full speed. And then a thing that's kind of operating under the hood as well is that each of these individually are counting as quests.
Looking really healthy and happy.
Hello, hello.
And for each section of the game, you are required to do, I believe it's 7 quests in order to be able to unlock the, like, ribbon race that you're required to do in order to be able to progress to the next, like, main chunk of the game. So a lot of the game kind of just revolves around finding the optimal timing for, like, what quests you can pick up without losing too much time kind of thing. And it's led to some pretty interesting routing. There's, like, some sections more than others. It's at least some pretty cool routing, except for, like, the 3rd ribbon, which is, like, you kind of just have to do a string of quests that are all required. Except for one, you just turn in one side quest, and then you're able to just kind of go through the 3rd main quest, but there was actually a relatively recent reroute of somewhat of the 4th ribbon, and a lot of bit of the 5th ribbon of the game had a bit of rerouting. It was something that was gone through, like, a month or 2 ago. And I'm kind of excited to show off what that all consists of.
Hello. Good riding, Barbie. Now that you know how to...
So we kind of learned the ropes of horsing.
Hi, Barbie.
And now we're going to immediately grab water.
Nice.
This is kind of going to set us up to not run out of water at a inopportune time. And so while we're passing it, we might as well. And I'm going to jump here. If you have a text box pop up while you're, like, in the middle of the jumping animation, you kind of just get mad air. You don't really have the speed to, like, jump over that fence again without losing a lot of time if you miss that, so it is a bit of a tight timing window. But now we're making our way over to Fisherman's Wharf to do a couple of side quests. I think we're gonna find, like, a boat, we're gonna pick up seashells, we're gonna... all sorts of fun things to make sure that we have enough side quests completed to get ribbon to whenever we get there, which is like a racing track kind of thing.
What a lovely little...
Yeah, that kind of brings up, like, this game does feel, in a lot of ways, like a spiritual, well, not a spiritual successor, like a spiritual prequel to Horse Trails. I'm gonna assume that there's a lot of Horse Trail knowers in the chat.
buoys for the cabin.
This game does share, like, a good bit of the DNA with that game, in the sense of, like, being open world, while kind of sharing, like, the main, like, progression of, like, having to,
For the cabin.
like, do, like, a mainline quest line in a certain order kind of thing. It makes routing pretty interesting.
Whoa. Okay, that's in place.
It does feel like this is a longer, like, category in terms of, like, any percent. But it feels like stuff in Horse Trails is happening at a lot more of, like, a breakneck speed. But, like, this still
Here's a screwdriver.
This still definitely has its appeal as a speed game in comparison.
Seashell.
A big one is the lack of having to mash through dialogue, you're able to just skip through all of it. That's a pretty big one.
What a lovely seashell.
You're also not required to, like, hold up to
Lovely seashell.
go at, like, max horse speed. It's a pretty good one, too.
Lovely seashell. Oh, what?
This is just a bottle that gives out a quest, is the way that that's programmed. As if it's, like, a person, which is a bit weird.
Yeah. Here it is. Hardly the worst
And then we're
thing
kind of
yet.
just doing,
Jonathan will be so happy.
just cleaning up some side quests right now. I don't know if you'd be willing to talk about the, charity that we're doing this for. The, was it National Immigrant Law Center?
This cord ought to do the
Shoot.
trick.
Yeah, sure.
This gas will work for the boat, but I should be careful carrying it.
What a darling you are. Now I can get the lucky lady back out on the...
How are your hooves, pal? Maybe we should scrape them.
What was the gist of it? Like they serve to help like low income immigrants and their loved ones by like progressing their rights kind of thing. I'm so good at reading what charities
There
do.
you are. Nice clean water.
A very strong history of knowing what charities do. No one fact checked this.
The racetrack.
No, it's real. So you can, if you want to read more details,
Yeah.
you can always type !charity in the chat,
Why is there so much
and
trash on the
there's
track?
a website ALhEXadecimal.org that you can read sort of more specifics about what they do. But yes,
Yeah.
the gist was correct, which is basically they advance the rights and opportunities of low-income immigrants and their loved ones. So this has to do with finding lawyers for them,
Okay, that flag's in
adding
place.
adding additional resources and all that kind of stuff like that.
Okay, that flag's in place.
Money for sort of higher education. That kind of stuff.
Whoa. Okay, that flag's
And if you
in
want to
place.
give support to that, there's a donate button under the video player right on Twitch.
Excellent. That's a so...
Yep. If that's not working for you, you can also type in !donate, and there is another link where you can donate directly.
So now we're kind of wrapping up the like main quests of the second like ribbon of the game. It's divided into like 5 ribbons that you do, except the first one is just tutorial. Mentally, I kind of just like bunch up the first and second one together kind of thing.
Awesome.
And there's like a unique sound that plays whenever you turn in the 7th side quest.
Go. Hey, Barbie.
And like a thing that like I kind of try to prioritize as well is like setting myself up at like angles where I'm able to talk to the NPC immediately after the race too, kind of thing. But like pretty much at the end of any of these like races where you're collecting a lot of checkpoints, you'll like slide at the end and be locked out of inputs for. I almost called this horse lucky just because of how used I am to horse trails. I don't think the horses in this game are like specifically named. We're not terribly attached to any of the given horses in this game.
Yes. Hey, you. It's really great that you can groom and
Speaking of not being particularly attached to any of the horses in this game, we're just gonna trade out our horse for a new one because
Good day, Barbie.
this one's not fast enough.
Wow. That must have been my great aunt Hannah. No, she survived actually.
Also, what I did there was you're able to call Kyle. That's the guy kind of standing in like the middle of the like ranch area,
Which one should I take out this time?
and he's able to just bring you back to the ranch, which is used for pretty much all of the like, main... Like, starting off any of the main quests.
Oh,
Or, like, any of the main splits anyways. You're not able to just, like, freely teleport around to, like, various, like, spots on the map, unfortunately, in this game. So that does a little bit restrict and contribute to this game being, like, 10 minutes longer. Yeah, we're not able to overfeed these horses either to make them reach breakneck speeds. We just occasionally give food and water. Just the bare minimum that we really need.
Hello, Barbie. Hey, Barb.
And then here we're picking up, like, the... like, stands for each of the... like, jumping section things. It's a very difficult part to optimize.
Okay, that's in place.
Mostly just played based on vibes, if I'm being honest. And this is the section of the game where they kind of teach you that you can jump with your horse. Which is something I did earlier for, like, getting past that fence and a little bit of optimization, but this is where they start, like, requiring you, like, hey, this is where you have to jump over, like, these obstacles specifically kind of thing.
Okay, got it.
And they can be, like, a bit deceptive in terms of, like, how... Okay. In terms of, like, the spacing of it. The, like, ribbon race for this is surprisingly tricky in terms of, like, the bars that are, like, 3 high will be kind of difficult to jump over without knowing the, like, correct spacing for it. Yeah, we're kind of just gonna do this, and then we're gonna pick up the blue bars. Weird that the storm blew all the pink bars to one side and all the blue ones to the other, but... I don't think about it too much. Can also just clip through that last one. As a treat. I mean, we jumped 5 times, like... I don't know, a bee's passing, right? The game cares a little bit less about the physics of not being able to pass through bars whenever you're setting up the bars.
Hello, Barbie. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, that's another big thing about playing this game. You will hear the same pieces of dialogue a lot. Such as that bar's really high now. There's some voice lines that apparently we won't be hearing today.
Well done. That's the way to do it. I think you might be
Such as Barbie saying, I love raspberries 3 times. Or these blackberries look tasty. The biggest loss is no longer going near the NPC where every time you pass her she says, hey, hi, how you doing? It's a very sad loss, but this version of the route saves like 2 minutes.
Nice clean water.
It's probably a relatively even exchange. And then before the jumping challenge, we're gonna save a cat that's stuck in a tree. And then we do have to get water there. I think this horse gets, like, water 3 times. It's probably around, like, 5 minutes that you can be on a horse before they need water, and then 10 minutes for food. But that's kind of just, like, me guessing at that, to be perfectly honest. It does create a bit of, like, optimization for, like, when you want to, like, water and feed. Because it's not a thing you can just do anywhere. And then we have to jump over the 3 tall bars. The lineup I've started to have for it is when Barbie's head is kind of level with the 3rd bar is when I'll jump. Which feels like you're just gonna run directly into the bar, but it's always fine.
Oh no.
It's usually fine. Probably one of the more technical ribbon races in the game. Well, not really a race, but...
Hi, Barbie. Jonathan,
And then we're gonna teleport back to the
what a
ranch.
beautiful new morning. Yeah. Hello again.
And then
Barbie,
we're gonna accept a quest for an old diary.
let's
Alright,
see
that was a
what
difficult
Diary
quest. We
says.
already got one towards our next
Hello
ribbon.
again. There you are. Nice clean water.
Probably one of the fastest quests in the game. You literally just talk to Ms. Roberts and then you talk to the diary. And now we're gonna be collecting carrots, which sadly do not give a stamina boost in this game. You also get calls periodically throughout the game. It's usually someone being like, hey, have you heard that there's a new horse available for you? Or like, hey, congratulations on getting this ribbon, but listening to that is time loss.
Oh, that jet you can have is
We don't need that right now.
That's one bunch of carrots. That's one bunch of carrots. That's one bunch of carrots. That's one bunch of carrots.
The carrots are all what?
Hey, have you gotten any new? What a beautiful new morning.
We're getting lots of bunches of carrots.
Keep you out of the hayfields for a while.
Alright, so we do have the carrots quest completed. The turn-in for that is Ms. Roberts, but we're not going to do that yet. Because we're going to pick up a different quest that we're also able to turn into Ms. Roberts.
Yeah.
And this is a lot of where, like, this route starts to deviate from whatever was world record,
Now I
like,
can find you.
2 or 3 months ago. The old route would have done... There's a quest I pick up from Kyle where you gotta attach the, like, horse trackers to all of the horses that are kind of just wandering around vibing.
Log cabin.
Because they all got lost in the storm, question
I
mark.
wonder if any- Oh, hello.
And I...
Barbie, I'm excited about your pro.
Dismounting is the same
What a beautiful
button as skipping
new morning.
dialogue, so that happens sometimes.
Whoa,
Now we're gonna
Barbie. Oh, these are lovely. Oh,
dump all of our quests, the seashells,
perfect for the decoration.
the carrots, and the grandma. That quest is not too difficult of one to pick up, because it's just talk to one NPC, talk to a different NPC. And it's pretty convenient. That was part of, like, the old version of the route. But where this one differs is you would normally get all of the horses from, like, horse trackers that I'm attaching, and then you would turn that into Kyle.
Hold still now. There. That's good. Now Kyle can find you.
And that route would kind of just complete all of the quests that you're able to within, like, Ribbon 4.
Hold still now.
Or at least all of the ones that we,
That's
like,
good.
make some
Now
progress
Kyle
on.
can find you.
But for this one, we're kind of just snagging all of the spots that we need to put the trackers onto the horses on the way over to Ribbon 4. And we're able to
This must be
just
the
dump off
endurance
so many quests onto Ms. Roberts that we're able to get enough quest points
There you
to
are. Nice clean water.
get to the Ribbon 4 race. We do have to do the practice race, though.
Hey, I hear you're quite a...
That is a thing that, like, most of these races are gonna have. They all have, like, a race that you do beforehand, and then it's like, alright, now you can do the real race that actually gives a ribbon. This one's called the Endurance Course, and it kind of lives up to his name, because you're required to grab water. Well, you're not necessarily required to grab water beforehand. You could route it in, like, when you're leaving the ranch to come here, but it kind of just works out better to grab the water as you're approaching the NPC to start this race. And then there's going to be another race after. You will always run out of water, even if you grab water immediately beforehand, and it's the thing I've tested and wanted to route out, but it's always just going to be slower to not grab water in between the races. Yeah, the horse in this game is kind of built diff. You can get some, like, janky interactions with, like, jumping off of angled slopes and just get, like, mad air. Yeah, the food should be timed such that it won't run out in the middle of the race. It might run out when I'm going back to the ranch. Spoiler, I'm going back to the ranch at the beginning of the next ribbon. But by that point, there's, like, too little, like, navigation happening to really make feeding worth it anymore. Yeah, I got the Skyrim horse DNA. It's got the Skyrim map, too.
Awesome. There you
I'm not
are.
sure exactly how
Clean
this,
water.
like, map size compares to Horse Trails, but, like, they're both, like, decently big games. Alright, we're gonna turn in that quest.
Ready for your...
Alright. Now that our horse is nice and hydrated, we're able to do the endurance course. I forgot to point it out at the time, but whenever Barbie first arrives at, like, a unique location, she'll always have something to say about it, like, this must be the Fisherman's Wharf. I forget what her, like, byline is for that. But, like, the first time she comes to the, like, endurance course, she kind of just says, this must be the endurance course. And, like, that always makes me think, like, she's thinking something about the endurance course that she's not supposed to say. What are Barbie's real thoughts on the endurance course? We gotta know. That's the Discord group chat. Someone's gonna leak the, like, Discord group chat between, like, Barbie and Teresa. And, like, Kyle. We're gonna learn some things we weren't prepared to know. Can you drift the horse? I honestly wish you could drift the horse. Kyle is apparently the nephew of Miss Roberts. And if I wasn't listening to the dialogue from doing a practice run of this earlier today, then I honestly probably wouldn't have been able to tell you that. Because I kind of just talked to Miss Roberts and she dropped the lore.
Hey, hi, how you doing? Excellent. Excellent. What a beautiful new morning.
Alright, this has been a good horse that has gotten us through thick and thin. We're gonna abandon it. Alright, we're gonna turn in runaway horses from putting the trackers on all the horses, and then we're gonna
Hey, you. Heard you nailed your fourth
accept a
ribbon.
quest called Barbie Saves the Day. And you know how you can save the day? By clicking the donate link below the Twitch player right now and donating to the National Immigration Law Center.
This is the medicine for Felicity's grandmother.
So this section, it looks a lot different than it used to.
They all look so fine.
The old version of the route would take 2 quests that requires, like, collecting strawberries, or, no, raspberries and blackberries. That's, like, around the area of the Ribbon 5 area. Steeplechase, that's the name of it. But what we're routing in instead is taking a quest that Kyle is able to give out once you turn in the quest where we talk to the lady in front of the log cabin saying, hey, my grandma needs medicine, and then you turn it in. And that's kind of just the end of that quest. There's no, like, actual, like, resolution to that until you, like, get to this quest. So we're gonna give the medicine, and we're gonna save the day.
Here you go, little birdies. Some nice suet.
And then we're gonna feed birds for fun.
Here you go, little birdies. Some nice suet to keep you healthy.
Yeah, these are 2 quests that are a lot faster to do than the
Here you go, little
raspberries and
birdies.
blackberries
Some
that
nice suet to keep you healthy.
used to be routed in.
Hey, oh, thank you.
Great work on getting out roads and
This is the last time that we're gonna see the Roberts stables, at least for the run. We're set up to be able to complete, yeah, 3 quests, because we turned in horse trackers, we turned in medicine for grandma, and we fed birds. That's 3. I know I'm mapping it right, I just forget the exact, like, numbers behind it. We're going a bit off the beaten path to try to get here a little bit quicker. Alright, that's a bad line to take. That's fine, we're just gonna
Good, Barbie, you know it.
approach for Teresa from over here.
Hello there. Please.
Now we're kind of cleaning up the track to be able to
The most
actually use the
difficult
steeplechase
part right
course,
now.
which is what I'm
If I do well,
talking over Barbie explaining.
here's one of the nests. This is a pretty flower. This is
We're taking a quest where, like, we're collecting sunflowers to be able to use and also cleaning up the track of, like, bird nests that have fallen out of trees because of the storm.
Here's one of the nests.
That one's a bit more believable than, like, jumping bars that just conveniently end up on specific halves of the jumping course.
Back to safety. I hope the
In my
birds
opinion.
use it again. Back to safety. I hope the birds use it again. Back to safety. I hope the birds use it again.
All right, who's ready for another recognizable voice line?
Nice. It's gorgeous. Okay. I could be a florist. That looks good. Yeah! I could be a florist. That looks good. I could be a florist. That looks good. There you are. Nice clean water.
Alright. And then we're getting water there, just so our horse doesn't get tired.
So glad we're here together. Oh, God.
And we should just be able to talk to this NPC for the rest of the run. This will be the steeplechase practice challenge, and then we'll be able to get into the real thing after that. This one can definitely be difficult, because there's, like, jumping rings at... Well, not jumping hurdles at a lot of different heights. The very last one is one that can definitely be messed up. Because you're kind of approaching it, like, at an uphill angle kind of thing. So it's harder to get the height needed to clear it. Yeah, this is a pretty fun game, in my opinion. This was the, like, first Barbie game that I kind of got into after a friend talked me into playing it casually, and I thought, hey, this is actually pretty fun. I'd want to know how to play it fast, which is, I think, the mark of, like, a fun enough game. And then that kind of started a thing of me and Soul Closet trying to take the record back from each other. I think I took like 2 years to do it at one point, but it's fine. I'm gonna approach this from the left just to be sure, yeah. Alright, we should have access to the last race. Alright, and this is where we're gonna earn the this is where we are going to earn the cross-country ribbon. And then time for this category will end whenever we talk to the person to turn in the quest from this after the race already ends. This one's honestly not as worrying. This is probably like the most difficult jump of them. Other than that, you're kind of just taking in the Barbie sights, enjoying the debatably well mixed Barbie music. Yeah, this is overall, like, a fun run, I think. And, like, it served as a pretty good gateway into Barbie horse trails. Which is, there's gonna be a tournament for that later on. Gonna be a very hype part of the event, in my opinion. Alright, and then time is going to be whenever we talk to this ranger over to the right.
Hey,
And time.
Done it. Barbie, I'm proud to offer you the highest event ribbon our camp can offer, the cross-country ribbon. You are the first to earn all 5 ribbons in her first visit to the camp.
GG.
Perhaps Janet can
thank you.
find a place for you here as a teacher after all.
Thank you for the GGs. That's like half minute off world record. Not bad. Oh, do we want to see a graduation cutscene with very peaked audio?
Your
We got time. We can do it.
All right, yeah. It's a cutscene of all time.
Beautiful new morning.
I think we just go over here. There's also like a photo in there that has like
This must be the main house.
high-res Barbie instead of like whatever other models that they usually
What you
use.
got there, Barbie? It's a scrapbook I've been making of our adventures at the Staples. Jenna's idea. She gave me the book. Want to see? Absolutely. Oh, look. This is the day we arrived at camp. There's Kyle and Mrs. Roberts. Hey! You can even see Buttercup in the background. Remember our designs with the seashells? Yup. The whole looked so pretty. Oh, you got pictures of all the horses. Yeah, I took these right after our first riding lessons. There's Buttercup, Sparkles, and all the others. And remember when we helped fix up Fisherman's Wharf? Totally. That was such a good idea. Look how bright it looks now. Did you get any photos of the island? I sure did. Check this out. The ancient oak, the rainbow waterfall,
We don't have to see either of
the
those.
riding house. Oh, and of course, our room. I'm so glad we decided to come here for the summer, Teresa.
Yeah, I could never have imagined how much fun we'd have.
This is my favorite picture, though, so I saved it for the last page.
You know, I think that's my favorite too.
I'm really worried about going back to like actually doing any percent because I'd have to listen to Rager Quinn's mic quality again. You at least don't have to listen to like a lot of this cutscene. It's actually entirely optional. Yeah, I think that was mostly what I had for this game. I'm glad to be able to show off the new route of it.
Yeah. Thanks for opening up the marathon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.